respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, with your kind blessings, I will start my presentation. So the topic is editing Ayurveda manuscripts and lower and higher criticisms. So in the previous sessions, we have learned about the need of studying Ayurveda manuscriptology and need of conservation or preservation of Ayurveda manuscripts. And after the conservation, the question comes, why you have to conserve the manuscripts? What is the need of conserving? The main is to publish the manuscript so that the knowledge can be disseminated to the scholars. So before publishing, there is one critical step involved, that is called editing. So the topic will be covered under the following headings. The first will be discussing about definition, followed by kinds of texts, next methods of critical editing, lower criticism, higher criticism, editing methodology, and in edited text where these methods will be mentioned, and lastly the conclusion. The definition of editing is reconstruction the text depending on available sources so that the reconstructed work resembles the same as that of the author who has written it originally. So in editing, what we'll be doing is the text will be reconstructed. Text here refers to the manuscript which we have got. It will be reconstructed in the similar way that it should resemble the author's original writing or the language. So next is critical editing. It refers to analysis of different sources. So one author might have written a text and it may be copied by many other scholars which are named as scribes in manuscriptology. Likewise, there will be many scribes who have copied the original manuscript. Depending on these scribes writing, there will be many copies of this same manuscript. For example, Charaka Samhita, if Agnivesha is the author, there may be many copies related to Charaka Samhita. So all these copies will be analyzed and that process is called as critical editing. Kinds of text as autograph, immediate copy, transmitted text and archetype. Autograph refers to a copy of text written by the author in his own hand. So the author writes the manuscript in his own hand. So we have Charaka Samhita in Ayurveda, which is written by Agnivesha, but we don't have that autograph, which is originally written by the Agnivesha. Immediate copy refers to copy made from autograph, but not under supervision of the author. This is an immediate copy. Transmitted text refers to the text that has passed through many copying stages. Okay, archetype is an immediate copy that serves as source of several arrays of extant manuscripts arrived at inductively. So mainly what we get in present is the transmitted text or the immediate copy. And there is lesser chance of getting the immediate copy, and what we are getting maximum are the transmitted text. The next is various readings or variolecto, which refers to when two copies of the text vary in the text in a passage, one copy can be considered as original and other as the various readings. The scholars who are reading Ayurveda, they might have seen the published book on Charaka Sushruta or Vagbhata. There is a footnote given wherein there are many various readings are given. So next is methods of critical editing. It has two methods. One is lower criticism, the second is higher criticism. Lower criticism refers to presenting the text as close as possible to the original work. In Sanskrita we refer to as Matruka Vimarsha. Matruka refers to the copy of the manuscript which we make as a source or the main copy. Vimarsha refers to analysis. Higher criticism refers to consideration of the question of authorship, date of author and etc. And in Sanskrit we refer to this as Grantha Vimarsha or Grantha Sthara Nirnaya. So the details will be given in the following slides. So there are three stages of lower criticism: heuristics, criticism and emendation. Lower criticism involves, what it basically involves is analytical description of the manuscripts, that is Matrika Swarupam, collation that is Pata Samvada Vichara or Patantara Sankalanam, wherein the different readings from different copies will be collected and a collation sheet will be prepared, and that is called collation. And information of fixing the readings, that is Pata Nirnayartha Vilambita Amshaha. Since we have different readings from different manuscripts, we have to fix one single reading so that it can be kept in the shloka and others can be kept in the column of various readings or the patantara. Next is pedigree of codices. Pedigree refers to the sequence in which the manuscripts are written, which is the first, next, or third, fourth, etc. Next is the analytical description of manuscript involves the simple catalog. There are some points mentioned in the simple catalog that involves the title of the manuscript, the name of the author, the scribe who has copied the manuscript, number of folio, number of pages, the condition of the manuscript, etc. and the subject. So, title of the manuscript refers to, there are confusion regarding these two terms. Number one is title of manuscript, second is the subject. Title refers to the name given by the author to that manuscript. Subject refers to the topic which he is dealing with. So Ayurveda is subject, title will be Charaka Samhita, likewise. Next is colophon. Colophon refers to the text which indicates the end of a document or a chapter. This is called colophon. The handwriting, the author's handwriting will be also be analyzed. The errors, there are some errors while copying the manuscript, those will also be analyzed. Next is Matruka and copies. We consider the one main copy which is complete, which is legible and which seems to be correct as Matruka, and other copies we consider as Putrika. If we imagine that we have got some 5 copies of Charaka Samhita, among that one copy which is almost complete will be selecting as Matrika, that is source, and others will be considered as Putrika or the copies. The higher criticism involves valuation or estimation of the work or author's authorship. For example, Agnivesha has written Charaka Samhita. What is the proof that Agnivesha has written the Charaka Samhita? That author's authorship is also studied under the heading of higher criticism. The date on which the manuscript was written, language, source of work, life of the author, working situation, circumstances that made the author to compose the work. What made Agnivesha to compose the work of Agnivesha Tantra or Charaka Samhita? Influences of former works on present work. There will be some former works done on the same subject and the present work will be there. For example, Chakrapani, who has written the commentary named as Ayurveda Deepika. What was the influence of previous works on Chakrapani? That will also be studied in the topic of or the subject of higher criticism. The influences of present work on later works. For example, influence of Chakrapani on later scholars. What he has made the impact. That will also be studied in higher criticism. Style of the writing or the author's style, refutes and arguments. How the author present the different theories of refuting a particular theory or argument in that particular theory. Command over the meters. Meters refers to chandas. How the author has used different chandas in different contexts. It will also be discussed in the topic of higher criticism. And assessment of readings. If there are different readings of a same manuscript, then the assessment of the readings will be done based on some rules which will be studied later, and that assessment of readings will also be a part of higher criticism. For example, we have studied that the date, language, source of work, etc. will be studied in the higher criticism. For this, I have given some examples. This is a text of, is there any Ayurveda scholar here? Any Ayurveda scholar? No one is there? Can you identify from which text is this written? Yaha Siddha Yoga Likitadika Siddha Yoga Atreva Nikshipati Kevala Muddharitva Bhattatraya Tripada Veda Vidajanena Daddha Patet Sapadi Murdhani Tasya Shama. Any Ayurveda scholar? If they are sleeping, please get up. So this is source of work. This is text is Chakradatta. The source of work for Chakradatta was Vrindamadhava, Siddha Yoga Sangraha. So likewise, the author himself says which work he has considered as source to write his own work. So we have also seen that in higher criticism, the reason for writing the text is also being studied. So this is one of the example. Asadbodha Tamachanna Samshrutamboja Bodhika Vasara Shriniva Arabdha Tika Bhanumati Maya. Can anybody answer from which text this is written? Any Ayurvedic scholar? So this is from Sushruta Samhita Tika Bhanumati, written by Chakrapani. He is writing the reason why he has written the Tika. Asadbodha Tamachanna. Sushruta Samhita was adulterated by wrong interpretations. To remove such adulterations or corruptions and give the proper meaning of the shlokas written by the Sushruta, or to give true intention of what Sushruta refers to. For this reason, Acharya Chakrapani has written the commentary on Sushruta Samhita, which is named as Bhanumati. So this is the reason why the author writes the text. This also be studied in higher criticism. So this here, can anybody guess from which text this is taken from? Any Ayurvedic scholar? Ayurvedic scholar कोई नहीं है फिर भी चुप है. So this is from Chakrartha Tika, written by Nishchalakara. So Chakrartha is a text written by Chakrapani, and over that the commentary is written by two persons. One is Nishchalakara, that is called Ratnaprabha Tika. One is Tattvachandrika, written by Shivadasya. So here Acharya Nishchalakara says why he has written commentary on Chakrartha. What was the need? So this you can see that Chakra Sangraha Ratnasya Kubodha Malinatvishaha Tantrantara Gunakarsha Durukti Namcha Gharsha. So this is the reason why he has written the commentary. See, Chakra Sangraha Ratna, he is comparing the text of Chakrartha to a Ratna. Ratna means a gem. And that Ratna was, the shine of that Ratna was masked by Kubodha Malinatvisha. Kubodha means wrong interpretations or false interpretations. So by this, the Chakra Sangraha Ratna, the shine of the Chakrartha was masked. To bring back that shine which was lost, Tantrantara Gunakarsha. So how we can bring back the shine which was lost from Chakrartha? He has adopted two methods, that is Tantrantara Gunakarsha. He has adopted some two interpretations from different Tantra, or many references from other Tantra, so that the two intention of Chakrartha can be given. So first method was Tantrantara Gunakarsha, adopting some goods from other Tantra to prove that Chakrartha's interpretation is such and such. Second is Durukti Namcha Gharshana. So Durukti refers to, again, wrong interpretation of the text. Gharshanat refers to removing those wrong interpretations, bringing the good interpretations from other text, removing the bad interpretations or the wrong interpretations. By these ways, he has brought the lost shine of Chakrartha back to the pavilion. So, Nishchalakarenatha Prabhatasya Prakasha. This is how Acharya Nishchalakara has brought the Prabha of the shine of Chakrartha. And again, we have studied one line or the one aspect in higher criticism, that the style of commentator will also be studied or written in the aspect of higher criticism. See, what is the style of Nishchalakara? Two styles are Durukti Gharshana and Tantrantara Gunakarsha. And one more style is Yoga Vyakhya Prasangena. Whenever he comments on some formulations, Leksham Yogyantaram Maya, he has given the altered forms of that particular yoga. Okay, if there is Shatpalakruta as a yoga in Chakrartha, he has given some altered forms of Chakrartha which even can be prepared and practiced. So this is Yoga Vyakhya Prasangena Leksham Yogantaram Maya Sudrushtam Cha. And he has decided to write that yoga based on some reasons. The reasons are Sudrushtam Cha. He has practically used that yoga in the altered form and got the results. Prasiddham Cha. in his time, what were the formulations which were very famous, that also he has given in his commentary, Prasiddhamja. Yukti Siddha. Yukti Siddha refers to if the particular yoga is logical in some indications which are not mentioned in Acharya, he has also given such extra indications of that particular yoga. So this is how the style of Nischalakara can be decided, and accordingly the commentary can be read. So this again, can you guess from which text this particular shloka is taken from? Any Ayurvedic scholar? Actually, this is from Sushruta Samhita, Nibandha Sangraha Vakya of Dallana. See, here Acharya Dallana says his source work. What are the works he has considered as source to write his commentary? Mainly he considers the text of Jajjata, Gayadasa, Bhaskara and Sri Madhava, Brahmadeva, etc. He is referring Jajjata to a Tikakara and Gayadasa Bhaskara as Panchikakara and Sri Madhava, Brahmadeva as Tippanakara. There are reasons to say why he has referred Jajjata as Tikakara, Panchikara as Gayadasa, etc. But this is not the scope of the presentation. So, like you see, these works written by Jajjata, etc., are acted as source for Acharya Dallana. Among these, he considers Gayadasa readings as main source and others as sub-sources. So, whatever Acharya Gayadasa says, that Dallana will accept. Whatever he rejects, that Dallana will also reject. So, this is how he has followed his preceptor, that is Acharya Gayadasa mainly. See, again he says why he has written the text or the commentary on Sushruta. Even though many commentaries were available. Before Dallana, many commentators have written the commentary. But why again he has written? The reason is Tasam Kushagriya Dhiya Abhigamyatvad Alpamedasam Anugrahaya Sushrutam Vyakhyatamasya Mama Prayasa Safala. The commentaries written by Jajjata, Gayadasa, Bhaskara, Madhava, Brahmadeva were only understandable to one who is having Kushagrati. Kushagrati refers to a very sharp intelligence. So, only for those commentaries were easy understandable. But for others like us who are Mandabuddhi, it was not easily understandable. For that reason, Acharya Dallana has written the commentary that is on Sushruta Samhita, Nidamanta Sangra Vakya. Again, we have seen the source of works, different source of works. So, can anybody say from which text this is written? Yes, this is from Madhava Nidana Madhukosha Vakya. See the number of sources he has referred to. Bhattara, Jajjata, Gadadhara, Vakyachandra, Sri Chakrapani, Makuleshwara, Sena Bhojayi, Ishana Kartika, Sukira, Sudhira, Vaitehi, Maitreya, Madhava Mukhi, Likitam Vichintya. So I have read all these source works. After that I have written my commentary. So the source work for Madhukosha were the commentaries or the text written by these commentators. So he has written, so you can see here, for before Chakrapani he has added the word Sri. And before any scholars or any Tikakara has not added the word Sri. So why he has added Sri before Chakrapani was a role model for Madhukosha. And he was considered as Pramanika Agra among all the commentators as per Nischalakara. So huge respect was given for Chakrapani, even now and even those days. Okay. So this is from Ayurveda Rasayana, Acharya Hemadri. So we have seen the reason why the commentator or the particular scholar writes the commentary. So this is different reason given by Hemadri. So after he has written Chaturanga Chintamani, which is for Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. So to attain that Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, one person should have a perfect Arogya. To develop that Arogya, he has written commentary on Ashtanga. So initially he has written Chaturvarga Chintamani. After that he has written the Ayurveda Rasayana Vakya. And why he has written Charake Harichandradehi Sushrude Jajatadavihi Tikakarahi Yaha Nadirnita Yaha Himatudha Hovita. Whatever the concepts are not mentioned in other books, or whatever the interpretations are not mentioned in other commentaries, to fulfill that lacune, I have written the commentary, that is Ayurveda Rasayana. So, and how he has written with his own yukti? No, he has followed the source works, and his commentary is along the lines or in parallel with the opinions of the Acharya like Charaka, Harita, Sushruta, etc. So he is giving one suggestion to us that whatever comes in our mind, it will not be the interpretation. The interpretation should match with Charaka, Sushruta and Bhagavata texts. So we have also studied the life of that author will also be studied in higher criticism. What is the life of that particular author or commentator? So he is the life of Himadri. Many of the persons should be knowing. He was a Amatya, that is a chief minister in Maharaja Ramachandra's dynasty or Asthana, and he was a chief accountant general in that place. So he was a chief minister. He has to manage the works related to war and etc. And he was a chief accountant general. So even in this busy schedule, he has written the commentary, that is Ayurveda Rasayana. Next he is writing the style. Style is one style he has written. We have seen previously that whatever the interpretations not said in other commentaries will be said in Himadri or written in this commentary. And other style is the Anukti Astanga Sangraha Tantantrani Chamuktani Vaishami Vivritani. Wherever he feels the reference of Astanga Sangraha should also be given in the sloka of Astanga Rudaya, he has given references of Astanga Sangraha also. And apart from Astanga Sangraha, he has given many references of Tantrantara like Harita, Bhuja, Vankasena, etc. And Vaishambe, if there is any contradiction between opinions of Charaka, Sushruta, Bhagavata and any other grantha, he has solved these controversies. We'll deal all the examples in the next slides, how the controversies are solved by the different scholars. So now the question comes, why editing is required? Editing is required because giving a book is like Vidyadana. So there are three types of Vidyadana. That is, one is Pustakadana, second is Pratimadana, third is Adhyapan. One is we can teach, that is a type of Vidyadana. Second is Pratimadana. Pratimadana means any gods or goddess related to Vidya. Unka photo देना, Saraswati Mata, etc. Ganesh. So to give that Pratimadana is an example of Vidyadana. One more is Pustakadana, to write a book and give it to the society. So these were considered as Vidyadana. So and need for editing is to give a perfect book which is less error, which is with less error. Complete errorless book is very difficult. Which are with less error. To give that particular book, the editing is required. See, and this we can see. So, what are the steps in editing? We have seen in the previous slides that it has two steps. One is lower criticism, second is higher criticism. Question comes whether these steps were mentioned by the scholars of our Ayurveda commentators, that is Ayurveda commentators, or this is a contribution by modern science. So, see, Acharya Nilakanta, he is a commentator on Mahabharata. He says, the steps of editing. Bahul samahritya vivinna deshya koshan vinishchitya cha pathamagram pracham guruna manuscriptya vacham arabhyate bharata bhavadepaha. So the steps is we have to collect the manuscripts of different sources. Bahul samahritya vivinna deshya. We have to visit many desha, that is the source of manuscript or the any conservation centers. We have to visit there. Then koshan vinishchitya. Then we should decide which text I was going to take, and particular text you should decide and collect that particular text, Vinishchitya. And हमें Vinishchitya पाठम अग्रे. After seeing many copies of that particular manuscript, you should decide which patha. Patha here refers to reading, which is agre. Agre means sreshta or complete. After deciding that, based on pracham guruna manuscriptya vacham, pracham guru refers to our teachers who has taught us. Along the lines of that guru, we should interpret the particular grantha. So the first step is to collect the manuscripts. Second step is to collate, that is Vinishchitya Patham. And after Vinishchitya Patham, Agre Patha should be selected, that is Sahi Patha, the correct Patha should be selected. After that, depending on the teacher's advice, the interpretations can be made on that particular grantha. So this is mentioned by Nilakantha in Bharata Bhavani. And one more thing, why the editing is required? Reason for editing. जैसे ऑथर ने लिखा था वैसे ही हो तो अच्छा होता है. जिस प्रकार से अग्निवेश लिखे थे वैसे ही ग्रंथ में ले तो एडिटिंग की जरूरत नहीं है. बट उसके बीच में बहुत कुछ होता है जिसकी वजह से एडिटिंग का एसेंशियल पड़ता है. द रीजंस आर मेंशन्ड इन महाभारत तात्पर्यनिर्णय. द सेज क्वचित ग्रंथान प्रक्षिपन्ति क्वचित अंतरितान अपि कुरु क्वचित च व्यत्यासं प्रमादात् क्वचित अन्यथा अनुत्सन्ना अपि ग्रंथाः व्याकुला इति सर्वशः उत्सन्ना प्रायशः सर्वे कोट्यांशोऽपि न वर्तते. So this text is written by Srimad Madhvacharya on Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya. So he says, Kochit Granthan Prakshipanti. There are chances of interpolation. Prakshipanti refers to interpolation. Adding a different shloka which was not originally written by the author. That is called Prakshepa in manuscript. Kochit Antaritanapi. Sometime we change the order of the shloka. Antarita. Kuru Kochita Vyathyasam. Vyathyasam means we change the complete style of the author's making of shloka. That is Vyathyasam. Or Vyathyasa here also refers to Krama Vyathyasa. Changing the chapter order. That we'll see in the next slides. Pramadat Kochitanyatha. Sometimes the changes in text occur due to Pramada. Pramada refers to some negligence. Due to negligence, while copying the text, the scribe may copy it in the wrong way, and that lead to the wrong text. So, Anutsanna api grantha vyakula iti sarvashah utsanna prashasana kotyam shopan vartate. So, the Acharya says, the many Ayurveda, not only Ayurveda, many manuscripts are vyakula. Vyakula means highly damaged. And even though there are some manuscripts available, those are also kotyam shopina vartate. Even in the growth, 1 crore part is also not available. Just the status of the manuscript. मतलब ओरिजिनल ऑथर जिस प्रकार से लिखा था अभी वैसा ही मिलना मतलब कोट्यांश के समान. So that's the level of damage made to the manuscripts by actually human. So these are the steps based on the above opinions of two Acharya. The steps are assemble the manuscripts from manuscript centers. मैनस्क्रिप्ट सेंटर्स कौन से नेशनल मैनस्क्रिप्ट मिशन में पूरा इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलेगा. रिस्टोरेशन करेंगे. रिस्टोरेशन के बारे में हमारे श्रीनाथ सर ने आपको अभी बता दिया है. डिसिफरिंग द राइटिंग, उसके बाद डिसिफरिंग करेंगे. प्रिपेयरिंग ए मास्टर कॉपी, दैट्स कॉल्ड मातृका. कोलेशन ऑफ द सेम विद अदर मैनस्क्रिप्ट्स, उसके बाद कोलेशन करेंगे. नेक्स्ट रिकॉर्डिंग द वेरिएंट्स, जो मेन रीडिंग से अलग है वो वेरिएंट्स को हम रिकॉर्ड करेंगे. उसके बाद असेसिंग द रीडिंग्स टुवर्ड्स डिटरमाइन द करेक्ट टेक्स्ट. उसके बाद जितना भी रीडिंग्स हमको मिला है अलग अलग कॉपी से उनको हम असेस करेंगे. असेस करके कौन सा सही बैठता है श्लोक के लिए वो डिसाइड करेंगे. आफ्टर दैट प्रिपरेशन ऑफ प्रेस कॉपी ऑफ द फाइनल क्रिटिकल टेक्स्ट. उसके बाद एक प्रेस कॉपी बनता है, दैट विल बी द फाइनल टेक्स्ट. सो देयर आर, अभी हमने पढ़ा था कि रिकॉर्डिंग द वेरिएंट्स एंड असेसिंग द रीडिंग्स ये मेन एस्पेक्ट होता है एक एडिटिंग का. तो किस प्रकार आचार्य ने, हमारे आयुर्वेद के आचार्य ने ये सभी रीडिंग्स को ऑब्जर्व करते थे बाय राइटिंग द कमेंट्री. तो वो हम देखेंगे बिकॉज दिस इज मेजर स्टेप इन द प्रोसेस ऑफ एडिटिंग. The first type of observation is Yukta or Ayukta Patha, or Nyaya or Anyaya Patha. So, Yukta Patha refers to which is justifiable or which is appropriate in this particular shloka. Ayukta refers to which is not appropriate in this particular shloka. So, this is a Mola shloka written in Sushruta. Tamshe toda kandu pradhurpavahi janiyat shuddhamiya adatta iti shuddham adadana apanayitaha atha shodita gandhena na munchet mukham asyaha saindhava chodena avakinit. So this is from Sushruta Samhita, Jaloka Avacharana Adhyaya. So here the word written is Shonita Gandha. On that particular word the Acharya Dallan is commenting. Anyatu Shonita Gardhena iti patanti. Instead of Shonita Gandha, few scholars read it as Shonita Gardha. So these are two readings. In one manuscript he has got the reading as Shonita Gandha. In another manuscript he got the reading as Shonita Gardha. So no question comes which is correct and which is not correct. So this he will analyze. He says Gardhena Abhikankshaya. Gardha here refers to Abhikankshaya, it is Ichha. Vadanti Gandhena iti Ayukta Patha. Who were the scholars who read the reading as Shonita Gandha, that particular reading is Ayukta, means it is wrong. Why it is wrong? Because Jaloka does not have Gandhendriya. So if there is no Gandhendriya to Jaloka, how the Jaloka can get Shonita Gandha? That's why Dallana rejects that opinion and accepts the Patha as Shonita Gardha. Gardha refers to Ichha. It has a desire to take much blood. So this is how he has analyzed the different Patha, and this is how he has proved that which is Yukta and Ayukta Patha. Kashayanurasam Tesham Dadimam Nati Pittanam Deepaniyam Ruchikaram Rudyam Varcho Vivannanam. So this is Mula Shloka. So over this, you see, if we read the Mula Shloka, we don't see any controversies or actually we don't get anything. But the commentators gives us many aspects regarding this shloka. You see, in Mula Shloka the word mentioned is Nati Pittalam. Nati Pittalam iti Amla Dadima Phala Visheshan, Ishat Pittakara Pittalam. Nati Pittalam there refers to Ishat Pittalam. Charake api Sarvam Pittam Amlam Anyatra Dadima Amalaka Ityatra. Bhattara Harichandraina Dadima Nirasya. So that is Mula Shloka in Charaka Samhita. That is Sarvam Pittalam Amlam Anyatra Dadima Amalaka. Even this published version of in Chakramani we see that Mula Shloka Dadima Amalaka. But in Bhattara Harichandra commentary he has not written Dadima. He has written only Amalaka. Iteshaiva Patha Paraskrita. So likewise the published version which we have now, it is bits different from what the Bhattara Harichandra's version was. This is how we can interpret this particular line and how he has justified that Atipittalam is related to Dadima. So and he has accepted Ishat Pittal. This is, see again one more example. Kichi Sharinana Vati Saraha Ityadi Patham Ajata Amajata Atisara Lakshananantar Padhanti. Yuktascha Tatheva Patha. We have seen that some people reverse the order or change the order of that shloka. So this is one of the example wherein some people change the order of the shloka. There is one more shloka wherein he says, you can observe there, Ityadi Patham Amajatisara Lakshana Anantaram Pathanti. So in the shloka sequence is first Vata Jatisara, next Pitta, Kapha, next Chikitsa starts. But few people what they say is, before Chikitsa Ama Jatisara Lakshana should be written. But Param Jajatacharya Vachana Anurodhena Atra Patitaha, Jajatacharya Vihaya Anni Tikakara Asya Anantaram Patham Na Pathanti. Because many of the commentaries or the source books which Dallana was having, nobody has written the shloka in the order mentioned that above line. That's after Vata Jatisara, nobody has written the Amajatisara Lakshana. That's why even Dallana has accepted that the same order which is mentioned in this published edition, it should be followed. And whoever is not accepting that particular reading or sequence of the shloka, they are referred to as Kshoda Kshamatva Abhavat. So if you want to justify your interpretation, you should be able to tolerate the Kshoda. Kshoda refers to ready to go investigation. आपको कोई क्वेश्चन पूछा जाए, आपको रेडी होना चाहिए वो सब जवाब देने के लिए. That is Kshoda Kshamatva. So this is one of the important quality which we should have. तो रिवर्स ऑर्डर, श्लोक का ऑर्डर रिवर्स हो गया है. रिवर्स हो गया बताने के लिए आपके पास एविडेंस चाहिए. मगर आचार्य दलना कहते हैं मैक्सिमम मैनुस्क्रिप्ट कॉपीज में वो नहीं था, इसलिए वो रिवर्स ऑर्डर को मानेंगे नहीं. जो भी बोलते ऑर्डर रिवर्स होना चाहिए तो आप परीक्षा लेने के लिए, दैट इज क्षोधा. क्षोधा मतलब इन्वेस्टिगेशन के लिए आप रेडी हो जाइए, बट वो कमेंटेटर्स रेडी नहीं होते हैं बिकॉज दे डोंट हैव एविडेंसेस. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज here also you can see गुणा इति ननोत् स्थूलगुणेन सह त्रयोविंशतिर्गुणा भवन्ति कथं विंशति कथ्यते उच्यते केचिदत्र संख्याभङ्ग भयात् व्यवायि विकासे आशुकारिणाम् अपपाठमेव मन्यन्ते. अन्ये पुनराहुः अधिकायामपि गुणविंशत्यां उक्तायां गुणः विंशतिरुक्ताः न चत्र नियमो विंशतिरेव इति. व्यवायि विकासे आशुकारिणां स्वतन्त्रे परिदर्शनात् पाठो न्यायः. In Sushruta Samhita there is a concept of guna in last chapter of Sushruta 46 Sutrasthana. So apart from 20 guna which should be mentioned, he has mentioned other gunas also. The question comes whether these extra guna are written by Sushruta originally or it's added by some other. So for this question, the particular commentary is made and justification is made that other gunas which are apart from 20 are also written by Sushruta itself. And that reading which are extra, which are apart from 20 gunas is also Nyaya, means appropriate. So these are like many examples are there. Here also we can see Patha Mahisram Rajanim Gurtam Cha Likhya Tata Shonita Vittarovi. Here Kechit Rajanim Gurtam Cha Ityatra Rajani Dvayam Iti Patanti. Here Dalana observes on different reading wherein Rajanim Gurtam, instead of this there is Rajani Dvayam mentioned in the one or any copies. He says Teja Shritodakene Likhya Vichanti Ayam Pataha Samanantra Virodhat Anyaya. So whatever the reading is against the Samana Tantra, means if Shalya Tantra is being commented, the same reading should be correlated with other Shalya Tantra text. If the reading is opposite to that text also, that particular reading will be rejected. So one more method which commentator follow is Ruddhai Patita Patha or Purvacharya Patita Patha. Whatever they experienced, scholars in that days, they accepted the Patha. The same Patha should be accepted. These are different examples. Sarvani eva sakshirani viryavanti tesham asampattav atikrantavad samvatsarani adadeta iti. Atrantare ruddhai patita patha savarnani ityadi. See Dalan is giving one shloka, that is ruddhai patita pataha. Again, one more example, Lalate cha prabhatagale svedaha netra rogat vinatva ashu pravrittihi. Again, he says, in many of the manuscripts, the Lalate va prabhatagale svedaha netra rogat vinatva ashu pravrittihi. This line is not available in many of the manuscript copies which the commentator has got. Even though it is not available, Acharya has written that line because Ruddhai Patitatvat, because his preceptors who were experienced in that particular field has written that shloka, hence he has also written. Here he is following the acharyas blindly without any judgment. And Prasiddha Pata, in those times whatever the readings were famous or Prasiddha, those particular works were or readings were considered by Tikagara. The same method is followed now also. Whatever the reading is Prasiddha or famous, the same should be accepted. So these are different examples regarding that. There are some Kalpita Pata. Kalpita Pata refers to one which is imagined but not really present. So such readings are also mentioned by commentators, and while editing, the same point should be kept in mind. And na kashchit vishesha patha refers to the readings which are different but meanings is same. There is a different of word but the meaning is same. Such types of readings are called as na vishesha patha, na kashchit vishesha patha. There are one more bahu pathantar sankulita patha. There are some incidences in Samhita wherein the commentators have got many readings which are above limit. In such conditions, Acharya says, Bahu Pathantar Sankulita Pathantarana Paryate. Even the commentator were not able to judge which part is correct because the readings are above the level or above the maximum. There is a concept of Pramada Patha again. This should be kept kept in mind while editing. Pramada Patha refers to the Patha which are arised in the manuscript due to negligence. So he says there are many, these are references of Pramada Patha from published books of Sushruta, Charaka, Vakpata. See, you can see this. Here you can see the consequence of Pramada Patha. He says, Sarvadoshakarasteşam bhedashi maladoshakaha. So here Pramada Patha is written and the consequence of Pramada Patha is also written. Kechit sarvadoshakaraस्थाने sarvadoshahara iti Pramada Patha drishtva. So in this shloka sarvadoshakara is mentioned, but few scholars read it as sarvadoshahara. There is huge difference in sarvadoshakara and sarvadoshahara. So considering this patha, sarvadoshahara cha maladoshakaratva abhava asambhavena maladoshakasthane galadoshaka iti patati. See, sarvadoshakara, if it is changed as sarvadoshahara, then we should change the maladoshaka to other words, because which is sarvadoshahara cannot be maladoshaka. So next what the scribe does is he changes the maladoshaka word into galadoshaka. So wrong reading of sarvadoshakara leads to change in further words also. That's why Pramada Patha has a huge impact while editing the manuscript. So this is again example of Pramada Patha. So we can see So this is again one more example of Pramada Patha. This is a Dhatri Arista mentioned in Pandodikara by Acharya Charaka, and that is again used as source work by Chakrapani and he has written in Chakradatta. So here you see in dose atra ardhapalam iti lekhaka doshat Pramada Patha ardha tula iti shastri darshana. Here Nisharkar has observed one negligence in that. Here you can see Sharkara Ardhapala is there. Here this Ardhapala is written due to Lekhaka Dosha. The one who was copying that manuscript, due to his negligence, the word Ardhapala is mentioned. But what should be the exact is Ardha Tula. So likewise, Acharya has identified the Pramada Patha which occurred due to Lekhaka Dosha. Next, the Pramada, the negligency may be related to the Mula Shloka or the interpretation of the Mula Shloka also. So that is called as Pramada Vyakhyana. See here we can see Mahishamma Mutram Kshirena Nirahara Saptaratra. This is from Udara Chikitsa, wherein Acharya has observed the Pramada Vyakhyana, that is the wrong interpretation of this particular shloka. Here you can see different term is given by Madhukosha for Pramada Vyakhyana, that is Anavadhana Vyakhyana. So here we can see the Kshavastambha, this particular interpretation is made as Kshava, Chikka, Stambha, Gadranam, Jadima. Both the words are separated here. Kshavastambha has been interpreted differently, but Madhukosha says this is a wrong interpretation done due to Pramada or negligency. And he justifies what will be the correct interpretation and etc. So we have seen in higher criticism that the style of the refute and argument will also be written in the aspect of higher criticism. So this is style of refute and argument. See here, Acharya Madhukosha has rejected that Kshavastambha should not be made separately, should not be separated. Kshavastambha should be considered as single word. And if it is made separately and interpreted, that is a wrong interpretation. This he has refuted that particular aspect, and argument is, and he writes this argument and justifies that why the Kshavastambha should not be interpreted as single word, should be interpreted as single word, but not as separate words. So this is a refuted argument style, which is written in the aspect of higher criticism. So next is Anyata Pata or Pata Abhavaha. See, we have seen in higher criticism that the order in which the sloka or the text is written will also be observed. Here, in the order in which the yoga formulation is made is also observed by the commentators. You see, this particular yoga is written in different order in some manuscripts got by Acharya Dallana, Kartika Kunda, etc. manuscripts, which he has got as source work. He says the formulation order is different in that, and here again he has noted, and he writes, and what is that change in the order and why that should not be accepted, etc. That particular information he has not written in the Tika because of Grantha Dharo Bhayat, because it enlarges the volume of the text. Again, Anyatha Patanti, the change in the order should also be examined while we read the manuscript. Change in the order may be related to the chapter or the shloka, etc. Change in the order, or Pataniya or Na Pataniya Patha. This is one more version. The readings which we have to read, or readings which we have to not read. Such aspects should also be seen while editing. So these are examples from Samhita wherein the commentators have observed such aspects. See, Tasmadayam Na Pataniya. So such particular reading should not be read while you read the Samhita. See, again he writes, I am Patho Vartamanasu Bahushu Pradeshu Pathyate Natu Nibandeshu Tasmana Pataniya. So I am, see, Dallana was having Bahushu Pradeshu, many copies of manuscript. Whatever he had, that particular reading was written. Even though the particular reading was written in many of the copies, he has not accepted, mainly because Gayadasa, who was his main source, he has not accepted. So he is also rejecting that particular part. So again, his one guideline what he has given is, if the main source book is not having that particular reading, and the reading is present in many manuscripts, there is no rule that we should accept the reading which is in maximum manuscripts. And Vakhyata Patha, Vakhyata Patha, or Likhita or Alikita Patha. These are again one more aspect of readings. The commentators comment on some readings, sometimes they don't comment on some readings. The readings in which they don't comment are generally considered as not appropriate or yukta. The readings on which they comment are generally considered as appropriate patha. This is in general rule, there are many exceptions. So here we can see Yasma Shuddhati Bandhena Prano Yati Chamardava Rohatyam Janishankam Tasmat Bandho Vidhiyate. See, here you can see Atra Kechit Yasma Shuddhati Ityataha Prak Adustihi Samavartatmam Vedanopashama Sukham Alepanathe Shopasya Sadhumandat Vidhiyate Iti Patanti. So some read these lines before reading the above shloka. Satu Patho Nibandhakaraina Dritaha Iti Asmabhirna Likito Na Vakhyatashta. And since that particular shloka is not accepted by Nibandhakara, that is Gayadasa, he is also not writing that particular shloka and he is not even commenting on it. So again, one more example from Sushruta. Okay. Here given interpretation of Dakshinatya Vishaja. We have seen in process of editing that from Vivinna Desha we have to correct the manuscripts. So Dallana was having a manuscript from south also, Dakshinatya, wherein the different interpretation of some shloka was given. He has also written about that. So Dallana was basically from Rajasthan, state is Rajasthan, but he has collected manuscript even from south. And there are some readings which are atyanta vivadakta. There are huge controversy regarding that particular readings. See, this is one example given by Acharya Dallana. The context is Shashti Upakrama, 60 Upakrama. If you count them, there are many variations in the counts. Counts may increase or decrease. And among 60, different commentators have accepted different Upakrama. So Acharya says, Tabhyam Param Atyanta Vivada Krutaha. In deciding which are exactly Shashti Upakrama, there are many controversies regarding this that he has noted while writing the commentary. Lipidosha Patha. There are few readings which we get due to Lipidosha. See here, Vimshati Kalo Muhurtaha Kaladasha Bhagascha. So this is the main shloka which is in published edition. Trimshat Kalo Muhurta iti Patha Nibandhakaraihi Vistarina Dushitaha. There is one reading which says Trimshat Kalo Muhurtaha, and this reading is rejected by many of the scholars. And why this reading has come? This is because of Lipidosha. Okay. So while editing the manuscript, we should also focus on Lipidosha. And we have seen in higher criticism that we should observe the order of the shloka or chapter. So this is Vyatikrama Patha or Vyatyena Padita Patha, wherein the difference in order is observed. Bahushu Pradesha Nibandha Patha Kramat Vyatikramaena Patha Kramo Adhikasya Patha Drishyate. So this is how, while editing the text, we should observe the change in sequence of that particular chapter or shloka. Next, Bahushu Pradeshu Pathyamana Patha. Whatever the copies you have, if the readings are mentioned in many copies, probably we may accept that particular reading. So this is one of the aspects which we should remember in editing. Bahulyena Apadita Patha. There are two readings which are mentioned in maximum copies, readings which are not mentioned in maximum copies. Both versions are given by, are shown by Tikakara. See, now there are in many of the copies the readings are not mentioned, hence that particular reading should be rejected. So likewise, if you have 4 copies and among 3 copies the reading is mentioned, that particular reading can be accepted and other reading can be rejected. This we have seen previously. And Vyakhyana Anugata Patha. One more aspect. Pravaha Patita. This is one of the important aspects in present days. That is the Pravaha Patita Patha or Gatanugatika Patha. Wherein this Pravaha Patita Patha refers to blindly following the readings. Blind followers are named as Pravaha Patita or Pravaha Patita Patha. See here he has given example of Gaddurika Pravaha. Gaddurika Pravaha refers to a goat. If one goat is going in front, other group of goats will follow them. So, if the previous Acharya has considered some reading, the other scholars will also consider that reading. If that consideration is not based on logics, then it is called as Gaddurika Pravaha or Pravaha Patita Patha. That is blindly following the readings of preceptors. So, Dallana says that should not be done. You should judge the readings based on Agama and Pratiksha. So that is a concept of Gaddurika Pravaha or Pravaha Patita Patha. There are 2 examples in Acharya Dallana's commentary regarding Gaddurika Pravaha. And there is one example in Chakradatta. Again, this is called Gatanugatika Patha as per Nischalakar and Gaddurika Pravaha as per Acharya Dallana. So while editing, you should keep in mind that blindly following the previous patha should not be done. It should be judged based on Pratiksha and Agama or seeing the other copies. And sometimes if there is different readings, commentators or commentator give us guidelines that you should accept that reading which is very easy to interpret. That's called Sugama Patha.
इसमें लगा के only.
And Arsha, Anarsha Pata. Arsha Pata refers to one which is originally written by the author, and Anarsha refers to which is not originally written by the author or the Rishi. That should also be observed while editing the manuscripts. See, these are the examples regarding Arsha and Anarsha Pata. So this is example of considering Arsha and Anarsha Pata. So we shall skip this. So anyway, so this we can observe. These are two shlokas written in the published edition of Charaka Samhita. So, can anybody observe any difference in this about two shlokas? Actually, you can see the first shloka, first 4 lines, and the next 6 lines. There is no difference in those two shlokas. But this is published. In published edition, these two shlokas are present. And no commentator has observed this similarity until 20th century, wherein Yoginnath Sen have observed this difference. And he says the second version, Triphala Trayo, is an explanation of the above shloka. So until 20th century, nobody has observed apart from Yoginnath Sen. So likewise, while editing the manuscript, we should observe such shloka wherein the meaning will be same, or the further shloka will be an explanation for the previous shloka also. These are like such examples are there. Here we can see so these are the so even though such huge work is remaining in field of Ayurveda manuscripts, but nobody is doing. The reason is, first reason given by Vidura is alasya. We know that we have to do many works in manuscript, but even though we are not doing, reason is alasya. Mada moho cha chapalam goshtirevacha sabdata cha abhimanitum tadha tyagitum evacha ete vai sapta doshaha syu sada vidyarthinam madah. So due to these reasons, in present days, nobody is ready to do the works in manuscripts. So conclusion is, knowledge of the subject is most important in the process of editing. Commentators played vital role in textual criticism. They evolved a methodology with criteria for assessment which was based firstly on authority and finally on therapeutic utility. So since the scholars have written the manuscripts with huge difficulties, it's our duty to preserve them like our putra. All the manuscripts should be preserved like putra, like our own daughters or son, because they are of huge value to the society. So this is, these words I will end my presentation. Thank you, sir. Preserve them like our putra. All the manuscripts should be preserved like putra, like our own daughters or son, because they are of huge value to the society. So this